This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced.
G'day folks, how are you? Having a fairly flat sort of a Tuesday, or are you a bit bouncy about it? Gotta say, been a good day for me. I've had a great meeting today in Newcastle. In fact, I'm hoping to get another great meeting again tomorrow, and may have something really cool to tell you in the coming weeks about things ensuing from those meetings. One of the big things that happened today was I took delivery of a Starlink system. So we'll see how that goes. We'll get it home, we'll set it up, and see how it goes. So we'll test it out over the weekend, and with a little bit of luck, our internet problems from, well, you know, the litany of internet problems we've had. Hopefully, a thing of the past. That's what we're aiming for. So thank you to our contributor who wants to remain nameless. He prefers to be known as Who and Where, or Whoever, and really would like to thank him very much. Without his support, we wouldn't be able to do this, and it has been quite a setup. So just to be aware, folks, if you are considering getting Starlink, and we're using it in a mobile sense. So there are two versions of Starlink that are available. There is a normal version for your house, and there is a version called RV. The RV is different in many ways to the version that goes on your house. It's a bigger dish. It actually mounts on top of your van or on top of your motorhome or whatever, and does not track or follow any sort of satellite movement. It's just a dish that lays pretty flat on the roof of your vehicle, and will pick up signal from a fairly oblique angle from a satellite. The latest Starlink home version, which is what we've got, is an oblong sort of dish that tracks satellites automatically. So once you plug it in, set it up, turn it on, it geolocates itself, then locates the satellite signals and locks onto, and I suspect keeps track of the number of satellites in the grid that are above us at any one time, and allows the high-speed internet access that we're all expecting. So really looking forward to seeing how that all works out. Now, when you purchase, and at the moment they have a deal on, we haven't got a deal. I'm not plugging them because we got a deal. This is paid for lock, stock, and two smoking barrels by Whoever. So it's $450 for the hardware, and then there is a connection fee. Now, I think they're offering a deal at the moment where your connection to the house will be about $140 a month, your high-speed connection to the house. Thought that pretty good value. What we discovered was that is for the area that you live in. So these units are meant to be put on your roof and left alone, essentially. We want to move ours all over the country. So Starlink works in a way that if you want to have access all over the country, then you need to pay for it. So to open up other areas of the country, and we've got the entire country opened up, it's about another $40 something to open up to national coverage. So just be aware of that if you are thinking about installing this in your van or your RV. The deal with the RV version is it's also apparently slower than this domestic version, they're calling it. Now, I've had a bit of a look at the pins and plugs and everything, and we'll do a little unboxing video of the whole thing at some point when we get home, just to show you what's actually in it and how easy it is to set it up. I hope that works out well. You know me and technology, so yeah, anything's possible. I'm trying to find Darren Bergwerf, who was joining us tonight, and in fact, half an hour ago said, "No, I haven't got the link yet." And I've sent him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 text messages saying I've sent the link. Pop in, but he might be on the phone. He does tend to get these long meetings that he's part of on a very regular basis because he's a very popular man. Let's just have a bit of a look through the list and say good day to a few people tonight. Thanks, Elizabeth. Nice to see you're in. Silver, hey, girl. Silver girl. There you go. I like silver girls. Shiny things. We like shiny things. I don't have enough shiny things, but thank you to the folks who have helped me get a small shiny thing collection because, yes, it's shiny. Evening to Black Sheep. I don't know if he's in the room yet. So he too is a man who likes shiny things. In fact, Black Sheep likes a lot of things, some of them quite strange. You will see something of that in the not too distant future. Hello, Michelle. Lovely to have you in for the night. Bruce, g'day, mate. Paul's back. Good to see you in the chat, Paul. New viewer. Hello, SR from England. Hey, we're nice to have new viewers. Love the fact we got new viewers. England at the moment. Now, what do I know about things going on in England at the moment? Right, so I've heard some very interesting stories about your medical system in England at the moment. Now, because of what's happened with you guys in the last couple of years and the things that you've been subjected to, you know, the jabby thing, I believe that your hospital system is crashing. In fact, I saw a story, I don't know if it was yesterday or last night, that was pretty horrifying. A person was in cardiac distress. They've arrived at the hospital. They've spent the better part of 27 hours waiting to get admitted. On first diagnosis, they had to be admitted. Then a junior doctor came along some hours later after many more blood tests and associated other things, and said, "Oh no, I don't think you need to be admitted. You can go home." Wound up back in hospital 6 hours later. 14 ambulances ramped at that particular hospital with people needing all sorts of care. The only ones that they were taking straight through were babies or pregnant women in distress. So yeah, things in England are progressing, I guess, as some people in that part of the world were expecting, and not so well in others, unfortunately. So SR, thank you very much. Love having you on board tonight from England. Hopefully we'll have a few more nicer stories to talk about England in the near future. But at the moment, things are pretty tough in England, and I think they're only just going to get a little bit tougher in the next few weeks. Sunflower, howdy, you wonderful thing, you. Hope you're having a nice Tuesday, and we're kicking along. Elizabeth is saying hello to everybody. Maria is back in the house. Hi, Maria. Nice to see you here. Yeah, here's an interesting one. You can feel the EBS is so close, imminent even. Yeah, look, I tend to feel that with you. There is a lot of talk about days, dates. Did I tell you the weird one about the World Cup? May not be a weird one. This came up after the movie chat we had the other day, and movies that could be related to things that we need to see in the world. One of them is called The Tomorrow War, and it's available, I want to say, on Amazon Prime, if you want to go and have a look at it. In that, a group of commandos come back from the future, if you like, onto the pitch in the middle of the World Cup. The World Cup happens to feature Brazil, I think, from memory. So the story evolves. They need to come back and get people from the past to come back and fight a war of the future that we've created. So that's the message behind that one. If you're interested in going and checking out a few things, Mr. Bergwerf has entered the building. He's a busy man. I told you he'd get here eventually. So let's bring him into the chat. Welcome him to the show. I've misnamed you, or I've probably cheekily named you, mate, in the description for this broadcast as Frankston's dirty bearded Santa, because you're not all white all the way over. But Merry Christmas to you, mate, and to Annie, and I hope everything's going well.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. How's your week been, mate?
Yeah, it's been pretty hectic. Driven a few kilometres, come down to Newcastle, had a really great productive meeting this afternoon, and hopefully got another one tomorrow, which will interest us from a My Place perspective going forward, as it's got to do with food distribution and growing getting things sorted over a wider distance. So it's just early stages at the moment. We'll just suck it and see. Transport is everything in the game when it comes to transporting produce, as you know. People have taken, a leaf from your own book, I think, mate, because you've, as you came on the show, I think in one of the earliest chats that we had, you came on and described going onto an orchard somewhere up in the Yarra Valley and asking the bloke how much he got paid by the big supermarkets, and you wound up doing a deal to take all the apples off his orchard for him and put them into my place, and everybody won out of that.
Yeah, we're actually working on getting a food co-op going at the moment. I spoke to a guy from Deniliquin today, who's basically got his own sheep, and he slices them up and brings them down, delivers them to Melbourne. So he's already been working with My Place Yarra Valley.
Yeah, great.
He's got a heap of families he directly delivers to once a week. Got his own truck. He wants to set up his own boning room, which is going to cost him about 40 or 50 grand. So we're looking to do some kind of deal with him and basically take all his product and share it amongst all the My Place communities around Victoria at least. Yeah. And we've got to do more and more deals like that. We've got to find these primary producers. And
I have one. I have one in southeast Queensland who's prepared to do exactly the same thing.
Yep.
In fact, is already doing something on I suppose slightly smaller scale. It's really only harnessing or feeding the Gold Coast and certain part of South Brisbane at the moment, but very open to expanding, very open to being involved with something along the lines of My Place, obviously. And I'm hopeful next week when I get back home, and it's a bad time, it's the lead up to Christmas, the week before Christmas. Who the hell wants to go and do deals and talk things about like this? They're just getting ready to have a good beer and a prawn. So although you down south, I guess you still get a hot roast meal at Christmas, but most Queenslanders have bugs and prawns for lunch. So,
mate, we're looking like a white Christmas down here this year.
Yeah, I see you're in the wind cheater. So is it a bit chilly down that way?
No, just a t-shirt.
All right.
Just a t-shirt, but yeah, it's been horrendous most of this week. So I think they had a couple of days when I was in Mildura. I think they got one day over 30, which is the first one. Oh, wow. And normally we're getting days September in the 30s, mid 30s, and all through October, November. So we've had one day above 30, since probably February or March this year.
Wow. Okay. Just want to address Michael's statement here. Queensland bringing in new laws after the shooting of police officers. Wait, they're going to attack freedom of movement next by the sound of it. One of the blokes involved with that apparently has already been targeted as a conspiracy theorist. So maybe that's how they're warming us up to shoot to kill. Orders for conspiracy theorists. You won't have to worry about that. There's no conspiracy at all involved with My Place. And in fact, if it is a conspiracy, we've lost Darren. If it is a conspiracy, I can tell you it's a growing one, and it's turning into reality, which doesn't make it a theory. It makes it conspiratorial reality, I guess. But My Place is growing, really, really quickly. And Darren's working very hard to keep that momentum going. Now, he mentioned just then he was up at Mildura. Now, for people who are unaware, think of the map of Victoria. The top left-hand corner is Mildura, or around there at least, near enough. And beautiful part of the world, a lot of fruit grown up that way. And they've managed to get their My Place up and running. Looking forward to coming to Mildura and checking it out. Hopefully we're going to do that in January, folks. So Mildura, be ready. Darren's going to have a chat to you about it. But yeah, we're coming down through January. We'll wind up coming down through New South Wales and then maybe along the Murray, because there are a number of new My Places, and Darren's just logging back in now. So I'll let him tell you more about them. I'm just saying, Darren, that the growth of My Place is going so well. You've nudged 50. You may even be over 50 as of this afternoon. We only spoke this morning, so things change rapidly in this game, I'm discovering.
Yeah, it's crazy at the moment. I'm spending my whole day, and this whole team of us spending the whole day pretty much facilitating new inquiries. Most of those phone calls, the initial contact that I have is probably an hour to an hour and a half per phone call, and we've picked up Kilmore, Maribyrnong, Berwick, Rockingham, Woodend, Coffs Harbour, Byron Bay, Tenterfield, Shepparton, I've started one myself, My Place Nomads. So that's
Awesome.
And
I'll be
we've also
joining
got
that one.
Bullaburra in the Blue Mountains, and Cayuga and Tatura, Canberra, Garfield. So we've done about 9 or 10 already this week in 2 days.
Bullaburra in the Blue Mountains. That's Michelle, isn't it?
Correct. Yes,
Mate, she is a dynamo. She is an absolute powerhouse, that chick. I can't wait. We owe her a show, and that's where we'll be in January. Hello, Michelle, if you're watching. We're coming in January.
I've already named her Xena.
Yeah, cool. Warrior Princess.
That's it, mate.
Yeah, she certainly is that. She is.
Now we've got Rockingham. We've got our first one in WA today as well.
Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent.
And she's in contact with a big crew in Fremantle. She believes they're as wake as anybody in WA. Massive amount of wake people in Fremantle. And of course, Port Macquarie, Penny's doing an amazing job up there. She's already cracked over 100. And she's starting to see some big uptick in the growth in her community as well.
Yep. So we're getting a lot of requests for a manual or some sort of a setup guide that we can put on the website. I don't want to write it. I couldn't write it. I guess the trouble is you're the only one who can write it, and you're flat out doing everything else. Well,
it's taken me a month to get our welcome letter to our first 280 or nearly 300 members of the People's Council. It's just every time I have it down as a priority to do the next morning, the phone starts ringing and everything gets put aside, and we're just solely focusing on growth at the moment because the big thing is that if we get all of these communities started, they're going to grow on their own, and then we've set up our first Zoom a week ago on a Tuesday night. And we had about 30 on that because we couldn't keep up. We haven't got all the details and emails of all the new members and kind of committee that are on these groups. So we're having another one next Tuesday. It was only going to be once a month, but I think at the moment it's going to have to be once a fortnight to get together. And the last one went for 2.5 hours, but it was really good.
Make sure you send Cherie an invite to that one, mate. She'll have her nose out of joint if she's not part of it.
Yeah, Jackie's working. She gets 3 texts by 9 o'clock this morning. Can you please give us a My Place wherever it is? And then an hour later, she's got another one. So she's flat out trying to get on top of that and
awesome.
and keep up with all the other bits and pieces. So we will be there by next Tuesday. Everybody that's started a My Place community will get an email. We will get their email address, and we will have a link for a Zoom next Tuesday night.
So the first step then, if we can't give people a document to read and go through, the first step, and I know you're pretty free and easy with your phone number, but the problem is you're always on the phone for that reason, and getting to you can be difficult. So how can we help people get those first steps? Is it contact My Place Frankston with an initial request?
It's got to it's all the way we're doing it at the moment. It's got to come through me. I'd like to have a conversation and get to know the person that's initiating it, and an hour or whatever it takes, whether it's an hour or 2 hours, I don't care. But that first conversation sets me to be pretty confident that person's exactly got the same mindset and same page as what we're on. And is also strong enough to to run that group like the guy in Bundaberg and Townsville, and of course Bullaburra with Michelle up there, and you get people of that caliber in the initial phone call. It's a lay down misere. It's this is perfect. I can see this group's going to, because a lot of these people have already started groups too. They might have 30 or 50 or even 80 or 100. So it's just a matter of adding the My Place, getting the Facebook page up and running. And,
absolutely.
And then the groups seem to grow fairly quickly once they've got that brand and we start
that's
talking
developing
about
your own local Facebook page. So Pete Newey, hello Pete. He's developing My Place Townsville.
Yep.
Michelle
correct.
will be doing Blue Mountains or...
Yeah, whatever suburb you're in. And I think it's better to be a suburb or a town. And we have a discussion as well, like Jimboomba, which is, I don't even know, it's near one mountain just east of Brisbane. Or...
South of Brisbane, between Brisbane and Bow Desert, lot of acreage lands out there, a lot of houses on 5-10 acres.
Yep.
Developing area. Yeah, a lot of young families. Good area. Good area.
Yeah, well, that wasn't the town that this lady was actually from, but it was the most central of a lot of towns, and also someone that's got a business and a facility there that they can use. So it's a matter of finding, if you've got to travel 10 or 15 minutes, it's not your actual town, but it's a place that's going to pick up the most surrounding population, then that's where we try and work towards that.
Yep. Next week, I'm hoping to have lunch with 3 people regarding trying to find a venue at least to hold the initial interest meeting for my place in Cleveland or in the Redlands area of Brisbane, another one in the city area around Kangaroo Point or around the city, wherever we can maybe find a venue, and another one further out towards Ipswich. So that would work. Ipswich and Jimboomba would work fairly well closely together. Geographically, they're almost neighbours, so almost side by side. So
that's right. But when I was up in Swan Hill on the Mildura trip, we had people came up from Kerrang, which is about 40 minutes, and I said, look, you're better off actually starting a My Place Kerrang group yourself, because you'll have people in your town, or it might be 5 minutes out the other side of town, that'll travel 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, but they probably won't join My Place Swan Hill and travel 40 or 45 minutes. But that doesn't mean that they don't work together, and the same with Mildura. I mean, they're all in the same kind of area. They can hold functions together, once a month if they choose to. But yeah, the more we've got, the more chance we've got of getting more people engaged if we have one in every town.
Yeah, that's the thing. Local, and keeping it local. It can't, Darren at the moment, and I suppose to a certain extent, I am pushing this, and it looks like we're at the front of it, but we're only at the front of it until you start yours. Isn't that right, Darren? Because as soon as they start their My Place, we're back out driving interest in more My Places. It then comes down to identifying and finding the doers in your group. And I guess that's what you're doing in those 2-hour phone calls where you're not talking about My Places. You're, in fact, interviewing the people who are interested in making it happen.
Correct. And we're here to back it up and join the admin. I had a discussion with Kylie actually yesterday. I don't know, they kind of seem to be just stalling a little bit. And it's really, people just got to get active. They've got to get out there and sell it. Now, they started their group probably, I don't know, eight weeks ago. They got about 400, over 400 people now in Mildura. Now, that's a town of 93,000 people. So they've got potential to get 10 to 15,000 people that are awake in that city. But they're not going to come to you. You've got to go and source them. And they hadn't had a meeting. Their first meeting was the weekend that I went up there.
Oh,
so
wow, okay.
You don't have to have a meeting before you start. You don't have to have a meeting in the first week or the first month. You've just got to get started and invite everyone in the area. And then they'll invite people, and your group will grow to 80, 100 very quickly in these bigger towns. And then at that point, you can start to have your first meeting and find out who wants to be involved in pushing it. But it doesn't just happen. You need people working on this, and you've got to stay motivated. So everything I do when I go around and try and visit the other My Place communities or put some comments up on their page is to just keep them motivated and keep the enthusiasm going.
Yep, absolutely. Are you finding it hard to motivate people, when they're a month, 2 months into all this? Is their interest waning, or do you find that you've identified the doers in the interview process and they're getting their doers gathered around them? I know there's a lot of people that want to be part of it, but we all know what wannabes are like. They're great. They do nothing.
Yeah. Look, it's a bit of both, really. Some groups are fully into it. Others, it's I don't know. We went to a Doncaster meeting a few weeks back, and people got it. Everyone wants their freedom. Everyone wants this and they want that. But I can tell you right now, no one's going to give it to you.
Yeah,
it's that simple. These people aren't going to roll over and give you back everything that you want. If you want it, you've got to fucking work for it.
Yep. And you're going to have to stand beside others for it.
Yep. So getting that message through to people, and as things get worse over the next few weeks, hopefully they're going to be a little bit more, because we've got some tough times coming. We're not through this. We're not even close to getting through this. So if people don't realise that, if they're still waiting and hanging out to be rescued, I think they're going to be in for a bit of a shock.
Yeah, well, I'm still giving out dates. It's just a waste of time. Always has been. But look, if it happens, it happens. We can't
Correct.
go living our lives. We can't go living our lives hoping to God that Bosey's going to be on our television screens instead of Koshi one morning. We need to plan what we're going to do to keep uniting ourselves together going forward. This movement. Look, if the military doesn't come out and we don't have a lockdown and money doesn't magically appear in everybody's accounts, we all become millionaires overnight and we're buying houses at 1950s prices, then what's the next plan? Because our freedoms are being taken from us at every turn. We still have to stand and fight for those freedoms unless, the overwhelming majority are too lazy, like you say, Darren, get off their ass and fight for what is most sacred and precious to us all, and that is our life, because it is a fight for our life. At least when you're at a My Place community, you are surrounded by like-minded warriors, and they might be warriors not in the sense of going to battle, but they are out there waging war against the tyranny of high vegetable prices, or lack of food, or lack of mental health support, or support in so many other different ways that come through a My Place community. So it's so important that we get people involved. And once you're involved, I think they found here in Singleton last week when they had their very first meeting, their first day, it was meant to be, I think, a 2-hour event. People have wound up arriving an hour early and left 2 hours late. And that's what My Place is about, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to being there Friday night for their first social event. So we'll be in Frankston. Not coming to Frankston yet. I'll be in Singleton at the My Place on Friday night. So I don't know if there's going to be a Friday night free for all yet. Might just be a bit of a chat with a few people who are there, and we'll just see how My Place looks in Singleton. But I'm really looking forward to that. And of course, now that you've mentioned Port Macquarie, there is Noosa, of course. Got to get a hold of that guy and have a chat. Would love to go up there and see what they're doing there. Of course, Rockhampton is another place we're looking at. My places, I think, in Harvey Bay. Or did you mention Harvey Bay in your list? Is that one up?
No, but I did speak to someone from Harvey Bay. I think you might have put me into contact with the other week.
Yeah. So
I think she wanted to go back and talk to her group before she. It had to be a group decision to commit to making their group into a My Place group.
Yes, that's the peer group. Yeah,
that's it. So look, that's fine. Look, when people are ready, it's like everything. When they're ready, or they see just how quickly this is growing, and I think what we're doing, and this isn't just till we win or till the military come in. This is for the foreseeable future. The way that we're going to interact for many years to come. So I don't understand why people are holding back on wanting to reconnect with other people. Because that.
Yeah. Michelle in Childers was another one. So I'll touch base with her. She gave me some of the most magnificent veggies. Oh God, got a bag of so too much to mention, but God, that part of the world grows some magnificent fruit and veggies, folks. If you're ever around Childers, and if you've got kids who want to earn a few bucks, they pay good money at the backpackers for pickers. So at the right times of the year. So moving forward, mate, over Christmas, My Place is going to continue as usual, or will they be scaled back a little bit, over the Christmas New Year period?
Look, each individual case, it's up to themselves. I mean, the ones that have just started, they got their own story. But certainly at Frankston, we're having a few weeks downtime. Everybody's pretty much worn out. They've hit a wall in the last kind of week or so, which most people do this time of year. We're having a few weeks off. I think our last event's on the 23rd, which is our Christmas break up on a Friday night. And then we are having a New Year's Eve bash kind of in between. So we'll have one night, we'll be back there, and then we're not back till about the 11th. And look, I'm sure that I'll be doing stuff all the way through, whether it's renovating or talking to people. That I don't believe that will stop. I'll try and have as much of a break from it as I can. But life doesn't stop, and this movement doesn't stop, and what we need to do doesn't stop ever. Really, you can't walk away. You can't turn a war off and on with a switch.
No, exactly right. South Australia. How many have we got in South Australia so far?
I did speak to someone in Petersburg or Petersburg, but none that are actually signed up yet.
So we've got a list, I think, approaching 15, or it is 15 different places in South Australia that they would like us to come and do shows in February. Yep. So I know that Peterborough is one of those. And they're very excited to get a My Place going in their neck of the woods. I'm unsure of actually how big that is, but it doesn't really matter how big the towns are, because they all have people who live outside the towns. You can attract people in. Like Darren said, people who travel 15 minutes in a city, they'll probably travel an hour in the country because it's a social thing. And when you're spread out over the Australian outback, traveling an hour to go to an event once a week isn't such a big deal. I'm looking forward to the first My Place we get that becomes a fly-in, mate, because we've got all those people out there in the outback. We've got their own planes and helicopters. Let's fly in and have a My Place somewhere.
Well, we want to build that trip that around Australia for the My Place Nomads that they can stop off at a community everywhere they go. But look, I don't know. It'll happen when it happens, but. I'm available for any of those people in South Australia that want to give me a call and get it set up. I've lost my contacts from Tim Dwyer and a few others from South Australia when I lost my phone a month ago. So I'm still trying to rebuild all my contacts. But if you've got any, shoot them my way, and I'll get in contact with them and we'll start the conversation, because we don't want to wait till February. And these towns, doesn't matter how small they are, these people still don't connect. I mean, one will go up the street at 9 o'clock, the other will go up at 10 o'clock, and they just don't interact like they used to. We've got this great thing called an Apple iPhone and a shit thing called Facebook, but it's probably the best platform that connects the whole community. And we've still got a few that are I'm trying to get encouraged to get a Facebook group rather than just a Signal or a Telegram, because we've got to reach everybody in your community, and most people aren't on Telegram. Most people are on Facebook, so we've got to keep. There's about 3, I think, that I want to have a chat to and say, look, let's get a Facebook group up and running. Yep,
and that's the key. Get your Facebook up and running. My Place, whatever town you're in, and start driving it from there. And once you start building the community, it's only going to go. Isn't that what they used to say in the movies, mate? If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, something like that. But it's not just that. It's when we have these chats also. Even without these communities, people, for a long time have said, well, what can I do? I'm only one person, all that kind of garbage. That's the one person that you can do something with, because it's about changing a mindset of a whole global population away from the way we've been trained to think and act, and into just reconfiguring who we are as humans, and being more self-sufficient and working out a way to defund the global cabal, which is pretty much all big corporate businesses. And that's the discipline that we've got to grow and kind of stick to a plan and start to use your small butchers and your small greengrocers where your product's going to be healthier for you. And we're going to support small businesses and letting them wither on the vine. When you have no choice, the prices are going to be double what they are now, and you'll only have Coles and Woolworths and Aldi. So people need to have learn some self-discipline and start to actually change them, even if they don't have a community. Lead by example. Stop following people. Stop following your religious leaders, your political leaders, because they're leading you astray. They're separating us into groups. The minute we stop following these people and we come together as one, and we get on the same page, we have a massive amount of power to take back control of this country.
So all of this is, as we discovered last week, Cherie called the meeting and we've had a bit of a chat about getting something to go forward, some sort of model going forward to keep us on the road, to keep generating interest in, well, my place being one thing, but keeping the whole freedom movement moving forward and making sure that your voice is heard, folks. Darren, it can't be easy. I mean, what you're doing costs money. So, I mean, the point has got to come. The bubble's got to burst. The bucket's only so full. How do we transition from your pocket to maybe a bit of help from state or federal government? Because what is being created here is a community resource. Grant funding is available for things like this, but the grant funding world, as far as I'm aware, is a minefield of dotted I's and crossed T's. You really need someone who knows how to navigate the grant process to write your grant proposal. I don't suppose, well, you and I have talked, we know we don't have anybody on either of our sides capable of doing that. So I'd like to tonight, if anybody is or happens to know someone who is capable of writing grant proposals and finding the right grants that we can apply for under the My Place banner. This money then could be used, Darren, I think under your guidance, to be spread across all My Places everywhere, whether it be marketing and promotional services or something more tangible with regard to, help with rent or the electric on the building or whatever. Do you think that's a way forward we should be looking at? I suppose is the first question, and if people do want to help in this regard, I guess they can contact us, but contacting you is probably the best in the first instance.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how we're going to go trying to get council or government funding. I don't think I'm at the top of their list for Christmas cards. So,
no, but your name, it's not Fund Darren Bergwerf. It's Fund My Place, a community initiative that has a panel of people behind it, like you've said. You just happen to be one of those people. We don't have to use your mayoral robe initially. We don't have to tell them that you're the people's mayor. But I think, well, once again, I could be talking through my hat because I don't know the grant field. I don't know how you even find what grant monies are available. But I did meet someone once, and I've got a message into them, but I haven't spoken or seen them even in 10 years. So I'm not sure that that's even the right phone number. So I don't hold a great deal of hope of being able to help from there. But I know there are people in the community who live for this sort of stuff, to be able to find the grants in the, I believe there's government web pages that are full of grants. You've just got to know how to apply for them. We need to put forward an argument to, help My Place. And if we can't do that, then maybe we can come together with some sort of a model as Voice of Freedom grows, because I want to keep this going, mate. So, and you can't pay for it all.
No, it's getting to that point. Like I've tried to refrain from going to the public to help with funds and that. But now, if we want to take this to a whole nother level, we're actually considering starting a My Place Australia not-for-profit institution where we can actually potentially apply for funding, not just from the governments, but also from overseas interests that may have some humanitarian funding down the track. Maybe get a subscription, maybe do some merchandise where we can start to fund the growth and support all of our smaller communities with ways and means to engage with their community and get travel around and start to talk and meet these communities so that we can maybe get some motivation, get them to really get fired up in their local community. So we are talking about doing that at the moment. If it's a not-for-profit, and we'll go out there fundraising, whether it's a GoFundMe or whatever else it may be, to raise as much money as we can to promote and connect more and more communities. So, but the fact that it's not just that it's a community thing, but we're also, in a way, pushing back and trying to move away from their system. So I don't know whether they're going to facilitate us by giving us money to actually make that happen. But You never know.
No, that's proving truer and truer every day. Really, you do never know. There is so much weird shit coming out. So, well, fingers crossed. Maybe this all won't be needed in the future, but we have to plan for it. And yeah, if you can help, then get a hold of Cherie, SHEREE at VOFHQ.com. She'll forward your details on to Darren. I'm not sure. I don't know. You might have a standing agreement with her that she just passes on your phone number. I don't know, Darren. Yep. So if that's the case, then we'll hook you up with Darren straight away. Or you can go to myplacefrankston.org, isn't it?
That's our website. Yeah.
Yep. And probably leave a message there. Somebody will get back to you. So a little bit of downtime over Christmas. Are you going to take the lovely Anna away somewhere and do real downtime, or are you going to build a house in your downtime?
Build a house.
Yeah.
If not a house, a community. No, look, I've got so much work that I need to get done on my private residence to try and get that sold early in the new year. Also on Frankston, on the building itself, to get those rooms into shape. And and I'm about 12 or 18 months behind on a lot of paperwork and things. So I've got, I'll put myself so far behind the 8 ball by just smashing ahead, doing what I'm doing. To me, all the other stuff's, it's a side issue. We've got to get these communities started and get them evolving on their own. The quicker we get, 1,000 communities with 1,000 people, that's it will continue growing with or without me at that stage. Yeah,
that's right. It'll have a life of its own, and because it's organically grown out of every community, it doesn't require an overseer like you or anybody else. The people in the community will run it themselves. That's what this is all about. You find your doers, you raise them up, and from your my place, you'll be able to instigate the likes of a people's council if that's the kind of thing where you want to go. And obviously, you get a lot of help from us along the way with that too. A bit of a Spiros update. Do we have a Spiros update on Life, the Universe, and everything? With the trusts, I know in Victoria, the People's Trust is doing great work, and the government is pushing back a little bit.
Yeah, we've come to a bit of a standstill at the moment. We've actually suspended the website temporarily. We're having major issues with the amount of paperwork they're piling up on top of us for every single one that we process. They're at the same time as requesting more and more stuff. We supply it, then they request something else. And that hasn't stopped them escalating the fines and continuing to go after the individual. So some individuals are obviously getting a bit nervous. So we've got a few people now that, and I've done it myself, I've entered into a payment plan from the Sheriff's Office under duress. So it's not a contract, which a lot of people seem to think that, I've contracted with them because I've entered a payment plan. It's under duress. I've had a gun held to my head, threatening to basically remove, figuratively, obviously, to remove my registration or my license or clamp my car. So they're threatening. To me, it's in my opinion, it's extortion, and it's a crime. But at the same time, once again, they have the so-called police, the policy enforcers, that can lock you up anytime they want. So we've got to take that away and just enter into a payment plan under duress. And at the moment, what we're looking to do is sue en masse in class actions. And Spiros is obviously starting one against the Victorian government with Brett Sutton in the Supreme Court for and not a criminal case, it's a civil case. So that'll be worth billions of dollars for every business and individual that's lost thousands, tens of thousands, or even millions.
Yeah, wow.
Over the last 3 years. So that's happening in February. We're looking at who we're going to be bringing that class action against at the moment, whether it's Fines Victoria or VicPol or whoever it is, because it's so intertwined and so well set up that you've got to make sure you get the right entity in the crosshairs before you kind of move ahead and do the class action.
Yeah.
Now, Fines Victoria is an entity; it doesn't have an ABN, so they're basically a debt collector, I guess.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of investigations got to be done before we can actually move forward and take that action.
Okay, cool. Andrew, in answer to your question, nothing in the Brisbane Valley, Fernvale-esque yet, but if you'd like to start one, Gatton-esque, Lowood, all those sorts of places, very happy. Fernvale, g'day to my mate Dale Press and his lovely family in Fernvale. Would love to come out and do things in the Brisbane Valley, and I think we could probably drag Darren up for a bit of a chat through the Brisbane Valley too. Once again, Darren, another very fertile area of Australia, a food bowl, if you will, of Australia. So very important part of this country to keep us all fed, and absolutely an important part of the My Place network. So Andrew, contact me, Carl at vofhq.com, and we'll see whether or not I can arrange to come out there one day. Maybe we meet Fernvale-esque or somewhere like that and have a bit of a meeting in the pub at Esk. Beautiful part of the world. You ever been to Esk, Darren?
I don't believe I have. No.
Beautiful, stunning part of the world. Mountain in the background of the town, just really beautiful.
You're gonna have a slow trip down to Victoria. You got to. I think they want you in Jimboomba and Byron Bay and a few others. And Newcastle will be a really good one actually to get Newcastle on board in the Hunter Valley. Would be awesome. We've already got obviously Singleton, but Newcastle will be massive.
Yeah, so we've had some interest from Newcastle. In fact, some people came out, I believe, to the Singleton event last weekend and will be again there on Friday night. So there is certainly some people who are interested in starting something in Newcastle, or at least attending something if they could in Newcastle. Also, Angela from the Cali. We've had Ange on, a couple of times. I think she's come on and had a bit of a chat. She told us her whole story about how she fought through the courts. You might remember she was on the night Ricardo Bosey sprung himself on us. Now, Ange lives around this area. I've got to try and get a hold of her while I'm in town. She was talking about setting one up, I think, in the Maitland or Cessnock area too there. Now, obviously, life gets in the way. Busy people doing busy things. But if there are people in those areas, Sharia's in this area, she would be great to be able to help you if you need any help setting that sort of thing up or getting in touch with Darren. Absolutely. Port Macquarie's, as you said, is on the go now. Coffs Harbour's on the go now. Now, I've had some interest from Alex, I think it was, from the Northern Rivers. Now, I think Alex is somewhere between Byron and Lismore.
Yeah, that's the one that we've just started as Byron Bay. Yeah,
right. Cool. Well, listen, for me, Byron's a day trip. I can drive to Byron, do a show, drive home again. It's a pretty easy thing to do. Lismore's probably a bit further away, but it's doable, and it's doable during this Christmas or summer period if we have a venue. So I'm going to be around in Queensland probably until the new year. The Galactic Larrikins and I have some work we've got to do with this new gear we're getting. We've got to try and make that work. Now, I guess if somebody in Byron Bay said, get the Galactic Larrikins to come up and stay here and you can get your cameras working here, I might be able to convince them to come up to Byron Bay. But failing that, I can certainly come and a show can be done. I've always wanted to be a little... it's not reticent, but I'm aware that the people of the Northern Rivers have been through a lot. And do they really need me coming into their town to say, let's relive all this for you? Let's by all means find out the growth. Let's find out what's repaired. Let's find out if you do still need help. And if you do want us to come, happy to come. I just do not want to intrude. That's always been my guiding principle in this. I don't want to come down there and just wave a flag and then piss off again. If you need help, tell us how we can help. I want to be able to help. So get in touch. Very happy to do that. And that goes the same for anywhere around southeast Queensland. Even if it's through until the first week of January, can probably catch up, do a couple of shows. There's 7 days in a week. So I'm happy to come anywhere, any day, anytime. That's just how it works. So if you're in Queensland and you want to do it, let's do it. Happy to do it. And we'll get more My Places up and running. I think the Southeast Corner is going to be a very strong place for this. And obviously, Darren, the My Place Nomads, do you want to just elaborate on that just a little bit?
Look, I don't know that we're going to have a huge amount on that just yet, but it's just for anyone that's kind of travelling around Australia to maybe be able to post on their trip and where they are in their journey, and be able to link up with other My Place that kind of mindset that are also on the road, and maybe travel together and make some new friends.
Yep, absolutely. All right, mate. Well, look, I'll let you go. I know Anna will be looking forward to spending some time with you where you're actually not on the phone to anybody and you can have an adult conversation with us. So I'll let you go and do that. And look forward to catching you up. We'll have you back on again before Christmas. In fact, if you can get the signal going and we can hear you, we might even come and share your Christmas Eve show, or not your Christmas Eve, but your Christmas show with you on that Friday night for the social function. So. We'll just drop in and see how it all goes. Wish everybody down there, the great folks that we made such great friends while we were down with you, mate. So wish them all a very Merry Christmas, and look forward to seeing them all again very soon in the new year. It's going to be great.
Yeah, we'll do. Thanks, Carl. And once again, I appreciate platform to come on your show and kind of spruik this. And we'll have to kind of get in contact with yourself and Sheree and maybe share some database or something so that you guys can get in contact, or the people from the My Place communities can get in contact with you as you travel, and try and work out some dates where you might be able to on your way through drop in and see them and give them a bit more motivation, because that's what this is all about. We've got to keep motivating each other to keep pressing forward regardless of the headwinds. And we can't and we've got to be self-motivated. We can't just drop off the pace right now. I mean, this is we're in the last quarter. We've got to go even harder than we have been going.
Absolutely, 100%. And that's essentially what we would like to do, is stitch together our road trip, if you like, from one established My Place to the next. And if that takes 2 weeks and 14 days, then that means there are 14 potential My Places that we can start along the way there. That's how I view this. Okay, it's probably not practical to stop at 14 different places on the way, but we can, across our travels, we can grow this. And obviously the next time round, there'll be a few more My Places on the list to be added. And if you're a nomad traveling around, they are great places to be part of. We also will have people traveling with us, Darren. I don't know if I told you, but I've got a list of about 30 couples or people, families, ready to hitch up their caravan or their motorhome or their tent and hit the road with us. So there will be an army of My Place supporters hitting these towns when we come. And the good thing about that is we'll spend money in your town, folks. We will need to buy fuel. We will need to buy food. We will need to, if you've got stuff to sell, we're probably going to buy some of it. That's just the nature of things. So, and if you've got stuff that you'd like to promote being sold, then you couldn't ask for a better platform. We're going to come into town and give it to you. You want to promote yourself? We're the place that'll help you do it. I can't wait to come and meet so many people on the road, Darren. And obviously, we've got to get our end of it funded. We've got to get your end of it funded, because this has to succeed. This will succeed. It is such a winning formula from day one. I've not had anyone reject the idea once they've walked into a My Place and felt the vibe, as the old movie says, because you just don't get it anywhere else. There is nowhere else like a My Place. So you've got to be congratulated, and let's keep kicking goals. Let's keep starting them up. Hopefully we can get 2, 3, 4, 5 or 15 started in South Australia. Western Australia, we will come and see you. We've got to figure out what we can say and what we can't say so we don't get arrested and thrown into jail for the rest of our lives. But we will come and see you through Victoria, New South Wales, Tasmania. Looking forward to coming back there. And we will come to the Northern Territory. I think of My Place in Darwin is bloody ideal.
I'm actually talking to someone in Darwin at the moment, so that's probably on the cards. And look, we're looking for somewhere through central New South Wales as well, like Orange, Bathurst, Wagga, down to Albury as well. So yeah, anyone that's out there in a big country town that wants to connect with 10 to 15% of your population and get some numbers where you can actually make a difference, get in contact with Carl or myself, and we'll get it started.
Coober Petey, we're coming. Gonna need a My Place. We're coming. Got to come to Coober Petey. Sure, he's talking to somebody in Coober Petey at the moment. So yeah, we are coming to Coober Petey. Can't wait. The Galactic Larrikins are very keen to sleep underground. I've got my own theories on why that is, but that's a whole other story. Mate, you go off and have a good night.
All right, good on you, Carl. Thank you. And
cheers,
thanks to your viewers as well.
No worries, mate. You have a good night. And
Okay,
as I said,
cheers.
say hi to Annie. Cheers, mate. Darren Bergwerf, legend of a man from my place in Frankston. Okay, so I've seen a couple of questions. There's a few questions popping up in here that have nothing to do with my place and quite a lot to do with the Queensland shootings. Okay, so I don't know how I go with that. Is it an ongoing legal investigation now that everybody's dead? Don't know what I can say about it just at the moment. Does it smell a bit fishy? Well, what smells a bit fishy to me, if I am honest, is some of the stories that are coming up, like that one. Let me scroll back up. Gareth Train exposed as online conspiracy theorist after Queensland police shooting. Now, here they tell the story that he believes that Port Arthur was a false flag operation. Now, he's not on his lonesome there, folks. I spent better part of 2 weeks in Tasmania. I didn't meet one person in Tasmania who thought that Martin Bryant was responsible for the shooting at Port Arthur. I did meet a lot of people who named the person who did the shooting, and that person is an ex-Special Forces and Police Special Operations officer who no longer lives in the country. I have had that not just from people sitting on the outside who had nothing to do with it. I've had that from people who were intimately involved both at the scene and at venues located with the scenes. There were multiple scenes at the event. One of the more interesting questions that was posed, that at the time he was meant to be actually doing the shooting in the cafe, he was on a telephone at a service station about 15, 20 kilometres away. Drove past that service station. Actually drove past the Seabreeze estate too, where they tried to burn him out of the property. So just because he believes that Port Arthur may have been a false flag doesn't in fact mean it wasn't a false flag. And I'm hard-pressed to find anybody in Tasmania who will tell you that Martin Bryant pulled the trigger on that day. Horrible day that it was. Now, speaking of pulling triggers, what a god-awful day for Queensland Police. 2 young officers dead, an innocent bystander who shot as well. That might be a bit of advice there, folks. If you're hearing, gunshots go off, don't go and walk onto the next door neighbour's property to see what's going on. It's a terribly, terribly sad situation. It was always going to end as it did. Now, of course, only one side gets to tell the story. I do see that in other places on news.com, let me go back to the main page. There you go. This is the dad of, I haven't read this article, so he speaks out about the trauma of it all. He lost 2 sons. It still hasn't become clear, and the message to me seems to be lost at this juncture. What was the missing person? Who was the missing person? What was the result of that inquiry? Is the missing person still missing? Because by the sounds of it, all the dead people are accounted for. 2 policemen, 1 concerned neighbour, and 2 male shooters and a female. Don't know if she was a shooter or not. I suspect once the front door got kicked in by the Special Operations Police Force, everybody might have been shooting. So look, do I think there is something weird going on here? Could it be a false flag? Or let me stop that. Or something like that. Look, I don't know. I haven't seen enough of the story yet. I'm a little removed from it, being down in New South Wales at the moment. I'm not seeing all the local media or hearing what the local media are talking about. I can just imagine what the local radio stations are saying about it. And there will be a lot of talk about it. Toowoomba is probably the largest, well, certainly the largest city closest to the event. The Ipswich radio station will be all over it too, because they blast their signal out that way. I guess the Metro ones will be having their say, as they all would have done today, I'm sure, and over the next few days. So, yeah, absolutely horrible turn of events. Where is the missing person? Who was the missing person? Why did they believe that missing person was at that property, and for what reason? Was the missing person the wife? Don't know. It's not clear that police, or maybe they have, I haven't read all the articles. I did see that there were 3 dead in the shootout, but it's quite possible maybe the wife had been murdered beforehand. I don't know. Haven't read the article. I'm only surmising. So I'll shut up and not talk further about that. What else is going on in the world? The 18th. I started talking to you about the 18th in the World Cup. Yeah, go and have a look at that movie, The Tomorrow War. See, it's being touted in certain circles as supposedly having truths in it for us. There are a couple of others. The Core, which is, I think, an older movie from the mid-2000s. And then there is the great 2012 movie. Of course, by the Mayan calendar, the world was going to be destroyed in 2012. That's what that movie was all about. Had a lot to do with the Earth's crust moving. Apparently there's something in that for us too. There are also a couple of Japanese movies that people have sent to me with links to the versions that actually have subtitles. I have tried to watch them, and I will continue to try to watch them. I'm a real problem child with subtitles. Being a typical male, I can only do one thing at a time, and that one thing would be reading. If there are pictures and I'm meant to be watching what's happening on the picture on the screen while reading about what's happening on the screen, no idea. No idea. Well, unless it's for a voiceover thing that, you know, for a documentary or something, you're narrating something. That's a bit different. But yeah, so no, don't play that game. All right, let's have a bit of a look here at, yes, that's what we think is coming, Brian, Bolshevik famines. They do want to starve us out. That's why they're flooding us. They'll start burning us in a couple of months. They are trying to stop fuel flow. What the hell? The Cossack is in police custody. Be interested to know what for. Considering that the charges that they laid against him the other day are not really serious enough, I would have thought, for him to be breached on his parole. But that would depend on the influence that the coppers have over the parole. I don't suppose it's a board. It would just be they would go to a court and revoke his parole. Interesting. I will endeavour to find out a bit more about that. I'll send Mrs. C a text and see what I can come up with there. Of course, if we can help him out again, we will, of course, help him out. Marvellous bloke that he is. He's been doing some great stuff recently. I did tell him last time we spoke, he was getting very close to the edge. You know, they're just looking for a reason to nail him. And because he is on parole, I want to say until the end of January, one breach of that parole, they throw him back in clink and he doesn't get to appeal that. He just gets to stay there until the end of the sentence. So that would be a bit of a concern, one would have thought. I will endeavour to find out what's going on there. Scrolling down to see if I've missed any questions. Yeah, it looks like the Aussie spirit's alive and well in the goldfields. Yeah, Maryborough, if you're not familiar with it, folks, Maryborough in Victoria, that's right in the middle of the Victorian goldfields. Beautiful part of the world. Used to have, probably still do, not quite sure, haven't spoken to him in a long time, sort of step family. Is that the way you would talk? My godparents came from Denali. And I'm not sure whether or not Lindsay, Julie, and Mark are still around that area. I think they were the kids. I think Lindsay went off to the big city. I think Julie became a doctor and went off to the big smoke. Mark, I think, is a beekeeper, may taken over from Uncle Ray. But at any rate, that was my family connection to Denali, the best yellow box honey ever, Ray Hall. Bloody great stuff. I haven't seen them in years. In fact, probably of an age now where I'm not likely to see them again until I pass. I'm hoping I'm not wishing that on anybody. Who else is asking questions down here? Stop me talking about people I'm going to get in trouble with. G'day, Chris. Nice to hear you in. Have you in? Good to see you around. Kath's in Adelaide. Awesome stuff. Yeah, we are going to come to Adelaide. In fact, we will travel as near as I can understand it from Cherie. And I don't know if Susie is watching tonight in Mount Gambier and her partner Craig. Need to talk to you guys. We want to come to Mount Gambier and do a show there too. I'm not sure if you're already on the list, but if you're not, we'll put you on the list because that's sort of my old stomping ground as well. Love to go back down there and have a bit of a look around and see some old friends, see how they're going through all of this. I guess it'll depend on how they're going through all this. Will depend on whether or not I see them. But yeah, good part of the world. So the plan this stage will involve loosely some of the towns that have been mentioned other than Peterborough are Victor Harbour, somewhere south of Victor Harbour, about 3 or 4 suburbs in Adelaide, somebody from Port Lincoln, somebody from Port Augusta has been in contact. Haven't had anybody from the other side of the Gulf, Whyalla. So, yeah, if you're that part of the world, get us while we're there. It's difficult for us to travel back from far north Queensland to go over to Whyalla to do a show. But if we're in South Australia, then let's nail South Australia. So Coober Pedy, I mentioned that earlier. Somewhere in the Flinders Ranges too. Little town. Must be on the road between, I want to say, Broken Hill and where you'd come down the ranges and turn right to go to Port Augusta. Must be a little town or something in there that we've been contacted by as well. So if that's you, contact us again. Very keen to put you on the list and come and do a show. We'll do a show every night, every other night. If it takes us a month, a week, a year to get through a state, that's what we will do, folks, to try and help you and get the message out that my place is going to help everybody. So please come along. We'd love to see you at a My Place event, and go along, check out Darren's websites, the myplacefrankston.org or myplaceaustralia.com. If you are a nomad, I would suggest signing up to it, even though at the moment it's not as broad as it will be. At the moment, you'll get a pretty good smattering of places you can go around Victoria and, well, a couple of other places, New South Wales and Queensland, where you'll find friendly faces reading the same book. May not be on the same page, but certainly reading the same book. Okay, let me go down to the bottom end here and see if I've missed any questions before I let you go off and do whatever you need to do for your Tuesday night. There's a Queenslander. Yeah. Well, that actually, it happened yesterday, mate. So let's try and get our dates right. Look, pretty awful thing that happened in Queensland, but I've seen too much to believe mainstream media and everything that they say, rightly or wrongly. I don't know whether there was anything else to it, what it could have been, what it might have been. No idea. I just don't trust the media. They've been lying to me and you for so long. I've lost all confidence. A bit like doctors. I've lost all confidence in doctors. God help me if I ever get sick, because I can't see myself going to a doctor. I don't trust them. Don't trust a word that comes out of their mouth after what they've done to us. So, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure there's plenty of you that feel the same way. Somehow we're going to have to make that right. maybe the only way we can make that right is with a med bed. What colour are my eyes? Kate, my eyes. Hazel, I think, is probably the best way to describe my eyes, if I can get them open wide enough for you to see. Yeah, hazel is probably the best. That art project, my God, that could be interesting. Karen's in Cooper Pedy. Karen, you're the lady Cherie's been talking to. I got to tell you, you have raised a lot of excitement in the camp. If you keep watching the chat, the Galactic Larrikins will come alive at their love for wanting to get underground. I was going to say it must be the mole in them, but I think that's being polite. At any rate, yes, Karen, love to come to Cooper Pedy. I don't know, Karen, if you're in charge of, from what Cherie said, it sounds like you've got some caravan spaces, van park or something like that. I have a very good friend named Tanya who used to work at the van park in Cooper Pedy. She's still in Cooper Pedy. And she highly recommends the caravan park in Cooper Pedy. In fact, told me I should be applying for a job there to drive their the bus, the little commuter bus around, help people around, go and do what you do in Cooper Pedy, see the sights, go noodling. See, there's an Opal loving word, noodling. Look it up if you're not sure of it. Hello, Michelle. Lovely to see you back in the house tonight. You've probably been in here for ages and I've just missed you. Oh, really? Where was that? New artificial food factory approved today. Queensland, New South Wales, or somewhere else? Oh, Liz, do you really? Well, Liz, if you have a friend that has a business writing grants, we would love to speak to that friend. We know nothing about the process at all, but I mean, Darren's not here at the moment. I can tell you that he's putting in substantial thousands of dollars a month to keep this running, and it's his money that's keeping this up and going. He loves doing it. He's going to keep doing it regardless. But it can't go on like that because eventually the money will run out and then the whole thing just falls over. So we don't need that. What we need to do is find a model, a grant model that we can put My Place forward for. So, yeah, Liz, if you can help with that, please contact Cherie at vofhq.com, and she will pass those details directly on to Darren, and I hope we could get something pretty flash. Yeah, Paul, expect tighter gun laws next year. Well, I don't know how much tighter they can get. I mean, if you want to go through and try and get a license in Queensland at any rate, you have to join a club. You have to be a member of that club for 12 months. After you've been a member for 12 months, and presumably you haven't shot anybody at the club or at home, they will allow you to apply for, get a license, and then apply for a gun. I think that's how it works. In that first 12 months, I don't think you're allowed to buy a gun, but you are allowed to use the club's weapons at club shoots and that kind of thing. Now, to me, this does make some sense. People who have no skill, use, knowledge of guns need to be trained and need to be trained correctly. And I've seen some stupid people with weapons, and 12 months wouldn't be enough training for some of them. So I quite like that idea that responsible adults in that environment are also getting a good look at the person who wants to get the gun, gets an idea of their temperament, gets an idea of their mindset. I think that's great. But the police then add a whole range of bullshit to it all. And it could take another 12 months before they will grant you your license, then let you buy a weapon. You've got to find the weapon that you want to purchase, a rifle in the first instance, because you will not be allowed to buy a pistol in the first instance. You'll have to buy a rifle, prove that you can be okay with a rifle, and then you'll be allowed to apply for a pistol license and go through that whole rigmarole all over again. It isn't a fast process. You would be looking at something close to 2, in some cases 2.5 years. The police checks that they have to do on the weapons or the piece of people applying for it are apparently where the process slows down. They don't have enough people doing the checking. So, yeah, they don't want people having weapons. They haven't wanted us having weapons for a long time. Eventually, people are going to say, I am sick and tired of dealing with a license issue that is only there to slow me down. I'm going to pick up my weapon and take it anyway. Don't encourage that. That isn't the way forward. We've got to do this the right way, folks. Let me have a bit of a look. Who else has piled in here? Starseed's in the house tonight. G'day, Chris. Did you see the chat we did with Starseed on Rumble the other night? Worthwhile going and have a bit of a look at. Boy, does he have some interesting news. And we'll have another one with him soon. Yes, there are businesses out there that would like to fund enterprises. Liz, you're 100% right. If any of them would like to fund the Voice of Freedom, please contact us. We're always up for a bit of business. And we can give back. We're not just going to take. We can give back. We can help business substantially with promotion and marketing and all that sort of stuff. So we're very interested in helping anybody who wants to help us, be them a corporate, well, a business, a small business, a local business. I'm not going to accept, helping Coles or Woolworths against a local fruit shop, for instance. I would much prefer to make the local fruit shop a star, where they've got to start shipping their fruit out in reasonable time so that folks can get it. Let's get rid of these big multinationals, folks. They are bastards. Please provide a link to my place. A general search reveals nothing. Shane, myplacefrankston.org, O-R-G, or you can go to myplaceaustralia.com and then click through the menus. You'll find where there are my places scattered all over the place. Peter, pressure cooker. Here we go. Here's something. What are we doing here? Buy a pressure cooker. Store meat, sealed jars, shelf stable, capitalize on special too. Yeah. Yes. So I'm with Cherie and her husband Gary at the moment. Now they have been made aware of a water filtration system. We're going to do a video. We're going to make this home water filtration system, and I'm going to take it home with us to Queensland. But it'll show you just how easy it is to make and how effective it is. I have also, you may have seen recently, a fella did a water testing thing. He's beaten me to it, but I've got some of those water electrolyzers on the way. And I have a few different interesting little things that I'm going to test with those. So you'll be able to see some interesting tests for water coming up, hopefully in the Christmas New Year period, like in that week between Christmas and New Year when there's not very much happening. I'll get a bit scientific. We'll play with these new cameras and see if we can't record a few things that will show you just how awful the water we're drinking is. And how to pick the best one, I think, is probably the best way. So my aim is to get that happening between Christmas and New Year. And we'll have a little video that Gary and I might make here this week while I'm here. And we'll punch out how to make your own filter at home. It's really, really easy and very, very effective. Boy, does it take out everything. And the smell of the feed bucket, like the top bucket, just like diving into an over-chlorinated pool. Just, bleh. Anyway, not very nice at all. Just seeing if there's any more direct questions in there for me. Look, as to dates, look, not doing dates. If you want to do a date, the only one I'm hearing them talk about is the 18th at the moment. Then I'm hearing Bosie say things like after Christmas. I'm hearing others say January the 6th. What do you say? I believe it when I see it. I think that's what Darren and I were at earlier tonight. Believe it when we see it. I've lost faith. I haven't lost faith. The carrot has been moved more times than I would like. Now, okay, it's been moved more times than any of us would like. But what right have we to dictate the speed that the carrot moves, or what the carrot will be revealing when it's pulled away? So I have this frustrating little argument with myself on almost a daily basis. And the answer to that is we do not have a right to speed this process up because we have barely any understanding of what's actually going the fuck on. We surmise things. We, try and work things out with a bit of critical thinking and logical thought. But we don't know. At the end of the day, we cannot guarantee anything. So to come out and say, oh, yeah, look, lockdown's inevitable, EBS soon, boats in... And look, there are plenty of Navy ships of many flavours, not just Australian, not just American, off our coasts and in our ports at the moment. We're not seeing anything that we can definitively say, oh, look what they're doing. That's, obviously an operation of some kind. I can't believe with the amount of awake people that we have in this country with mobile phones that nobody has seen anything. And either that is the truth, nobody has seen anything, or if they did see it and they did film it, they've been caught and shut up and stopped from spreading it. They may have been paid a few dollars, or they may have been given a little holiday for a while. Who knows? This is serious business. They're playing for keeps, for the world, for humanity. So, some numpty out there with his mobile phone catching a special operations crew scooping up pedos, let's say, is probably going to get scooped up along the way because they don't want people knowing what's going on yet. Military is military. Yes, I do believe it is still a military operation. Yes, things change. But if you listen to all the people who supposedly are hooked up with the military and who are, getting very close intel on it all, they're going to tell you that it might happen in the next month. So, pardon me, it might happen in the next month. Once again, the carrot is on the move. So, I don't know. I'm a bit disappointed in those who've been waving the carrot, if I'm honest. But I understand. I don't understand everything that's going on. So, without having that full knowledge, without being able to have that, global view and knowledge of the reality, there's no point in speculating. All we can do is prepare ourselves, get your gold, get your silver, get your food, get your water. Make sure you get the right water. I hope to have that water tester thing happening so you don't go and buy a whole heap of sludge and crap that's bad for you. But get your water, get your food, be ready. Otherwise, go off and enjoy summer. Beach cricket, barbecues, bushfires, unfortunately. Won't be enjoying those too much, but get out, enjoy family, enjoy friends. Do not worry. Do not be out there doom and glooming. Oh, God, when are they going to come and fix this? They're going to come and fix it when the world is ready, not just us. There's only 26 million of us. How many of us are ready for it, do you think? 5 million? 10 million? Even if it is 10 million, it's not enough. We need more. And in Europe, they've got cities that are bigger than our entire population. Same in America. So if you've got that sort of cognitive dissonance spread far and wide across countries like that, it's going to take a while, or a very big event to draw everybody's attention, make sure everybody's watching, and then you can start delivering some truths. And that's why the World Cup is being featured. It's the most watched television event in world history, apparently, bigger than the Olympics. I know I said similar things earlier in the year when the Olympics were on, that, I would expect if something was going to happen, they'd do it at the Olympics opening or closing ceremony. But apparently the World Cup is bigger. So the game itself, let's see what happens. But I don't know. That'd be about the only way you're going to get me watching the World Cup at whatever time in the morning it is, hoping that something out of this world might happen. Of course, we have to be aware that something happening from out of this world might not be from out of this world. Remember, there was going to be the hologram invasion, the fake alien invasion. hologram technology. Well, I can tell you that a soccer stadium would be an ideal place to set up a hologram happen. Absolutely ideal. So I'm not completely sure with the latest holographic technology, and let's face it, they've probably got much more advanced holographic technology than we're aware of. But the last time I was sort of looking into holographic technology, it required anywhere between 13 and 18 cameras to achieve it. And that was to, basically have one certain, one person, one subject covered. You would need something on a much broader scale than that to have some invading force, if you like, descend from the heavens in a whole rip through the space-time continuum. I know, I can't believe I'm saying it either. But look, there are theories out there. I'm not telling you they're conspiracies because, well, who the knows? Sunflower, God bless you as always. Thank you so much. You are wonderful. Thank you for your help and support. It goes a long way, always. Thank you to everybody else in the chat tonight. If you put in a super chat, thank you for just coming along and checking it out. It is important, folks, that you get a My Place happening in your area, but you've got to have it for the right reasons. You've got to do it to build your community. We will come to your community and help build it. You need us to come and stay a week to build it, we'll come and stay a week. You need us 2 weeks, we'll stay 2 weeks. We need to get these established all over, because regardless of what is going to happen with the military, we're going to need to support each other. The military aren't going to support us like that. The military aren't going to support us with our own humanity, if you like. And let's face it, there are a few of us that could learn to be a bit more human. So My Places are going to be fabulous places to learn that too. Thank you very much for supporting us, folks. If you choose to donate, vofhq.com is the place to go and do it. There's a button there you can hit. If you don't, that's fine too. Just think, please consider being involved with My Place. If your town hasn't got one yet, if you're a mover and shaker in your town, if you want to see things for your town improve, then be the person to start this and get in contact with Darren or get in contact with Cherie. We'll put you in contact with Darren and we'll make this happen. Can't wait to get around and visit the My Places around Australia. It's just going to be so exciting. And looking forward to meeting so many of you. I can't, God, the chat's gone bloody mad. I can't scroll fast enough and hold things to find out what's going on. A lot of chat tonight about what's going on in Queensland with the police shootings. And that works both ways, both the 2 dead police officers and the 3 others that the police shot. So 6 dead in all. A terribly, terribly tragic scene if taken on face value. I have no reason to suspect anything different other than the fact that it's the media telling us the story, and I simply do not believe the bloody media. I do not believe the story that comes out of the police. And in Queensland, there is a police union guy who comes out and does most of the speaking on behalf of police. And me think he speaks with forked tongue too. So, I don't know, just a gut feeling. Just a gut feeling. Can't prove anything. Yes, this is big news. India is trading with Russia in rupiah, backed by gold. So India is part of BRICS, of course, which is the Russian-Chinese initiative to restore a gold-backed currency. And they're doing very, very well out of it. India are big players in this war against evil, folks. They are big players. They also have quite a large space program, only just becoming more aware of it. It's in the Himalayas, and they have had an active space program for some years. And when I say active, I mean they're flying shit. So there's a lot we don't know about going on. Apparently there are 11 nations in the world that have active space capabilities. Isn't that going to screw up the flat earthers? Just saying. I thought. All right. Oh, God, what's going on? Who got assaulted? I'll have to go back up and read all that. Sorry about that, Galactic Larricans. In Darwin, 1st of July, fireworks. I was a bit disappointed when last I was in Canberra. I said to daughter, as we were driving past Fishwick, would you like to go and buy some fireworks? She said, oh, yes, Dad, I'd love to go and buy some fireworks. I'd love to go and buy some fireworks. I said, well, let's go into Fishwick and buy some fireworks. She said, can't. And I said, why not? Apparently, you've got to live in the ACT to be able to buy the fireworks in the fireworks shops at Fishwick. Hello, Galactic Larrigans. Anyway, Darwin might be a different matter. But at any rate, if you've got fireworks, Darwin, all right, I'll mention that to Cherie. What was it, 1st of July? Fireworks. Always up for fireworks. Guy Fawkes Night used to be big when I was a kid. Cracker Night, we used to call it. And look, still got all my fingers. Okay, some kids don't. It happened. There were a few letterboxes that went up with, 5 wrapped penny buggers with a rubber band thrown in there. Used to blow the top off a letterbox pretty well. Okay, it was probably not wise handing small explosives to small children. But look, by and large, we all survived it. A few burns, the odd, stupid kid who put a tom thumb in their mouth and let it off. Oh, speaking of which, I guess what turned me off about it was I found a blue-tongued lizard one day and somebody put a penny bunger in its mouth. That devastated me. Didn't like that. Don't like people who hurt animals. Don't like people who hurt people, especially women. And definitely do not like people who hurt animals. So you're not my kind of people. I'm sorry, I've missed this. What's this? The Devil Dan is turning the screws in Victoria and wants everybody to learn about the Quran? Well, I guess there's plenty of people in Victoria to teach it. Just saying. Cossack was involved in a scuffle today where he pushed a man in self-defense. Shit. Okay, we'll see how that goes. He was assaulted at the rally. Okay, somebody... Well, it'll all be filmed. You'll be guaranteed of that. So, all right, I'll make a few phone calls and see what I can find out about that. And I'm not terribly far from Sydney, so if it has to be, we can go down. Yes, that's what I was saying. He's been turned the intimidation on the coppers since his release. Yeah, they don't like that. Okay, so G1 or 2, whoever put that up, latest video says he pushed an old bloke at a Ukrainian rally. Wow, okay. We'll have to wait and see. Oh, that's an interesting one. Big Bird is in Perth. Thanks, Sienna. I'm going to have to ring Perth when I get off the phone. Very good. All right. Love a photo. Always love a photo. Okay. AC's now making messages about restaurants not to go to. Town hall incident. Okay. So this is what's happened to the Cossack. Ukrainian activists approached Cossack. Cossack pushed the activist who then fell down. The group harassed him for pushing an elderly man. Unlike Cossack to be pushing other activists, unless this bloke was working for the other side, maybe. But regardless, laying your hands on someone, unless they've laid their hands on you, is not ideal. He did defend himself. If that's the case, then... and look, we do get approached by people who don't like what we say. Not everybody is as wonderful as you are with your praise or your like of what we do, whether that be me or Dave or Cossack or Maria Z for that matter. Now, I haven't spoken, personally, if you like, to Maria Z about this, but I have to the other guys, and we do cop it. We do cop certain levels of abuse. Most people tend to give me the abuse online. They're usually pretty polite to me when they meet me. I don't have too many issues. Dave, on the other hand, gets abused from one end of town to the other for a variety of different things. And to be honest, I hadn't seen anybody really abuse or dislike the Cossack outside of his Russian rhetoric. He's genuinely working to make life better for us, and he's making the police accountable, which is more than what most people in the chat or hecklers of his site are doing. Yes, not a great outcome if this is how he's handled what's happened today. But if that gentleman rushed him, was charging him, was carrying something that could have hurt the Cossack, bear in mind that he was in hospital 48 hours ago, 36 hours ago, with bronchial complaints. So he'd probably have every right to protect himself. And I'd imagine at 145 kilos, he can protect himself fairly solidly. So, probably silly for an old man to go charging him, but equally silly to react maybe in the way that he has, allegedly. I say allegedly because I haven't seen anything. Okay, so it was just reflex, others are saying here who've seen it. So, thank you for that. Oh, Bloodshots. I'm on YouTube. Don't know if I can talk about that. I'm going to do a Rumble show on what happens to your blood when you donate blood. Have you donated blood? Were you a blood donator? Where do you think your blood goes when you donate blood? You probably think it goes to a hospital, at least in the same state, maybe in the country, and goes into a person who needs blood. Sadly, only a very, very, very small percentage of the blood donated goes to that person, goes to that purpose. A very small percentage of it. And up to 20% of the product is refined into other things by big drug pharma companies. And how do they get it? They pay for it. Yep. Your local blood bank gets paid for delivering your blood to big pharma. Have a think about that for a minute, and we'll have a Rumble chat about that one night, because it has some pretty severe connotations. And if you've ever wondered how they make blood-borne products, then medicines, then that is how. They're not buying all the blood, they're simply looking for the plasma. But yeah, they can do a whole heap of stuff. Thank you, CP. Thank you for your thoughts on doctors. I feel exactly the same way. As you know, can't trust them. And I don't know how they are going to regain trusts. Cuba Petey, yes. Starseed's onto it there. So when he says the DUMs are in Cuba Petey, they're under Cuba Petey. But the complex of DUMs being referred to emanates out of Pine Gap. It is huge, absolutely huge. An area mind-blowingly large and deep. All sorts of different reports coming out, but all of them say consistently down as deep as 250 kilometers it goes. So a very, very significantly deep hole, but it also spreads out exponentially. And it is the most important base in the world outside of America for what the deep state are doing. So one day, I hope they'll be selling admission tickets so we can all go to Pine Gap and have a bit of a look. At the moment, you can't really get too close. Don't like you're traveling down the road. But there's some interesting things going on there. And one day, hopefully soon we'll find out what's going on there. Okay, some rifle and gun chat there. I might have got some of the times wrong. Have a look in the chat if you're interested. There are plenty of people. Oh, I'm going to run out of battery. So I'm going to have to go. So, all right, folks, let me just see if there's anything else there. God, you're typing so fast. I can't keep up. Anyone know the plan to introduce digital ID? Yeah, everywhere. I will talk about digital ID soon. I know someone who works in the passport office. I'm going to find out what the deal is. Can you get a passport that doesn't have a digital ID with it these days, or do you have to comply and get a digital ID before they will give you a passport? I should be able to find that out with a phone call. So, all right, folks, going to leave it. The computer is not plugged in tonight, so it's about to go flat. Love your work. We'll be back again tomorrow night for another chat, and hopefully, I haven't told him I'm in town yet, but we'll be at the Cali tomorrow night for Brad. We'll have a bit of a chat. There's a new beer in town. It's the Cali Brew. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what's going on with the Red Ensign and the council too in Singleton. So if you happen to be in the area, come to the Cali for dinner tomorrow night. See you there. It's going to be a great night, and I'll do a little bit of a show there at some stage with Brad, and we'll have a bit of talk about what's going on in town. They had their big Cali ball a couple of weeks ago, so I'm sure there'll be the odd story or two out of that. Until then, folks, you have yourself a bloody good night. If you are on the roads, it's very busy this time of year. A lot of people traveling for Christmas. Just make sure everybody gets to where they're going. Do not be a dickhead on the road. There are plenty of other ones out there to take your place.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!